Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today, this is a really fun segment, man. It was really fun to put together because today, I'm going to be telling you guys how Mike Tomlin neutralizes rushing quarterback threats with this Steelers defense and why he's done it so consistently throughout his time as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. And if you appreciate Coach T like I do, man, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon. I really do appreciate your guys' support. And with that, let's get into today's content. And listen, man, I think that personally, when you look at the history of the NFL and all these rushing quarterbacks and how much success that they have had in this league, and then you look at Mike Tomlin versus these guys, and Tomlin just handles these rushing quarterbacks better than pretty much anybody else in the NFL defensive space, in my opinion. And, we can look at some evidence for that. We can take a look at what Jayden Daniels, the runaway favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year, did just last week here against the Steelers defense. A 50% completion percentage when this guy has been breaking records with completion percentage. He just had some really bad accuracy last week at certain times, and you could tell he was rattled. He also had just over 200 yards in total offense. I think he only had 5 rushing yards on the entire day. And it just wasn't a very good day for Jayden Daniels, man. And, we've seen this guy light up defense after defense after defense this year, and the Pittsburgh Steelers were different. Then we look at Lamar Jackson, the premier rushing threat in the National Football League, and this is what his numbers look like against Mike Tomlin in his career in 5 games played. And really, there was one game where he only had 1 pass attempt, so it's more like 4 games, just to be honest here. But his completion percentage is below 60%. That's way below his career average. He has taken 20 sacks in pretty much 4 games, so that's 5 sacks a game. He only has 4 total touchdowns, so that's with his arm and his legs, and he has 14 turnover-worthy plays, 7 interceptions with 7 fumbles. Okay, so this is no defensive coordinators ever had this kind of success against Lamar Jackson. Plain and simply, this is a 2-time league MVP. So here's how Mike Tomlin does it against these rushing quarterbacks. Number 1, the Steelers live in single high coverage when they play these quarterbacks. Now, the Steelers really live in single high coverage quite a bit. This is kind of what they like to do. If you don't know what single high coverage looks like, it looks a lot like this, okay? And this is kind of just a base formation. This is a cover 1 look from the Pittsburgh Steelers this last week against the Washington Commanders. You got that single high safety here. That's Minkah Fitzpatrick. And then you've got corners on either side. And what that does, guys, is it allows you to put another player in the box, all right? So you can put Deshaun Elliott, Terrell Edmonds, whoever your other safety is in there, and you have another defender in the box to defend against the quarterback run game. Now, that's not revolutionary. Most teams in the NFL play single high coverage against Lamar and Jayden and these dynamic rushing threats. And another thing that the Steelers do, but they kind of do it at a higher level, is in the QB run game here, they do what's called charge and scrape techniques. Okay, and what a charge technique is, it's pretty simple. If a quarterback is in shotgun and they go to make the handoff to the running back, okay, at the mesh point, what the Steelers edge rusher is told to do, and most of the time it's TJ Watt, is to just run at the quarterback. Do not let him pull that football. And pretty much they're saying, we trust the rest of our defense to tackle the running back in that scenario. So the Steelers just don't really let opposing dynamic rushing threat quarterbacks pull the football all that much. But in certain situations, they'll go to a scrape technique. And this is why getting Patrick Queen to be your inside linebacker this free agency was so big, to have an athlete like that in the middle of your defense. Because what a scrape technique is, the edge rusher crashes down, and then to replace his gap there, the Patrick Queen or whoever the inside linebacker is going to go back over the top there and take the quarterback if he pulls the football. And having a guy like Patrick Queen, somebody that's one of the best athletes on the planet with insane sideline-to-sideline speed, like we saw last week against the Commanders, by the way, is so important. Why he's going to be an X factor this week against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens as well. So coming up here, we got more ways that Mike Tomlin manipulates these rushing quarterbacks and really dominates them, and why you can expect Tomlin to do it once again against Lamar Jackson this week. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Public Rec. And guys, let's be real. Wearing nice pants sucks. Who decided that the stiff, uncomfortable fabric squeezing your family jewels was the key to looking sharp? Well, here's an early holiday gift from me to you. Those days are finally over. Public Rec's Daymaker pants are here to make sure you stay comfy and classy this holiday season. They feel like your favorite sweats, but look like tailored pants. Whether you're kicking back with holiday movies, making your way through leftovers, or watching bowl games with the boys, these pants have you covered. Heck, they'll even keep you looking sharp for that awkward holiday party with your in-laws. Give the gift of comfort to yourself or someone you love this holiday season with Public Rec's Daymaker pants. And for a limited time only, you guys can get 20% off your entire order with code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. That's 20% off your entire order when you use promo code CHAT at publicrec.com. And guys, I'm actually wearing a Public Rec t-shirt right now. I love wearing these shirts because they're so soft, they're so breathable. And I'm somebody that likes to wear long sleeves, and guys, these fit me perfectly. Sometimes they can be too baggy, sometimes they can be too tight on your arms. It's just super comfortable sitting here at my office here at Chat Sports, working at my desk, and it's just all day comfort, man. I love it. Also, with the Daymaker pants and all their pants options, you guys get tailored options, which is huge for me because I'm tall and skinny. If I'm buying pants off the rec, they're usually too baggy or they're too short. With the tailored options from Public Rec, that won't be an issue for you any longer. It's been a game changer for me. It'll be a game changer for you as well. Stop suffering in regular pants and give the gift of comfort this holiday season. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off when you use code CHAT20 at checkout. That's 20% off with code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. After you make your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you here at Chat Sports. Say goodbye to pants that put up a fight, because when comfort meets style, you've found Public Rec. So another philosophy from Mike Tomlin when he faces these rushing quarterbacks is more bodies equals less run lanes, all right? And pretty much what this philosophy comes down to here is that he doesn't like to send 4 rushers against a rushing quarterback because it opens up potential rushing lanes for these quarterbacks to exploit. So when you see them play the Commanders, when you see them play against the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to send 5 or even more men in pressure to give those quarterbacks less opportunities to escape and to use their legs in a way that destroys the defense. So John Kine is a reporter for the Washington Commanders for ESPN. He said this after Sunday's game. According to True Media, Pittsburgh sent 5 or more rushers, 19 snaps, a season high. Previous high was 11 versus the Giants last week. So the Pittsburgh Steelers ramped up their blitz rate significantly versus the Washington Commanders. Really the first time they played a significant rushing threat all season in Jayden Daniels. Remember, the Steelers have not played the Ravens yet so far, so that number is significant. And you take a look at what the Steelers were able to do the last time they played Lamar Jackson, which is all the way back to week 5 of last year. They blitzed him with 5 or more guys 27 times, which equated to 4 sacks. All right, so they're very, very aggressive, and they really do a good job at getting after Lamar when he plays this defense. And you look at the sack totals versus Lamar when he's played a full game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 4 sacks last year. Then you go back to 2021, he gave up 7 sacks in that football game. In 2024, and then in 2019, he gave up 5 in that Week 5 matchup. So this is somebody that gets sacked a ton by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and really, he's not really used to pressure all that much because, teams usually don't pressure Lamar Jackson all that much, if you'll believe that. Then we get to another thing that the Steelers do a lot, especially on third downs against these quarterbacks, and that's double A mug looks. And they do this to open up their edge rushers and open up the opportunities for TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith on the edges here. So you guys can take a look here at the double A mug look. So what that means is that in the A gap here, you got 2 linebackers. You got Patrick Queen, and here you got Peyton Wilson up in the A gap. And what that does, guys, is it makes the opposing offense respect the A gap pressure. So they have to account for these linebackers, because if they run and they don't have a blocker for them, it's going to be an A gap pressure right up the middle for the quarterback. So what this does is it creates one-on-one opportunities for Alex Highsmith, who's all the way over here, and then you got TJ Watt on the other side and playing in a wide formation too, which helps out the angles to get to the quarterback. So when they want to get to the quarterback on these third down looks, a lot of times they'll go to these simulated pressure looks, and then a lot of times they just send these linebackers back out in the coverage. And when you got athletes like Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen, you can absolutely get away with these looks to create those one-on-one opportunities opportunities for your star edge rushers. And then when you do pressure, when you do get after Lamar Jackson and Jayden Daniels, it's paramount that you keep lane discipline. You can't just rush out there and not have a feel for where other players are. You guys see a lot of times when teams play the Steelers, whether it's TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith, will get a quick pressure on the outside. The quarterback steps up, and then boom, Cam Hayward's right there to get the sack. Or the same thing happens, and then boom, Keanu Benton is right there to collect the sack. This Steelers pass rush does a great job of working together and not allowing any open space for these quarterbacks to escape in. Okay, so you can pressure as many guys as you want, but if they allow a lane to open up for these quarterbacks, it doesn't matter. You have to stay disciplined with these lane assignments, and if you don't do that, it's going to be very, very difficult to stop these rushing quarterbacks. I got one more thing that Mike Tomlin does that really solidifies what he does against these rushing quarterbacks here in just a second. But if you're enjoying kind of this nerdy Steelers football content, this is what I love to do here on Steelers Talk, guys. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Every time there's breaking news, I got you guys covered with a video. We go live at least 3 times a week, including our live watch parties for every single Steelers game. And it's all 100% free, guys. So help us get closer to that 70,000 subscriber mark. 67,000 of you guys have already clicked that subscribe button. So if you bleed black and gold, you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you want to join the largest and most interactive Steelers fan community here on YouTube, click that subscribe button for me right now. Then the final thing that Mike Tomlin asks of his defense when handling these rushing quarterbacks is to hold up in one-on-one coverage. That game against the Washington Commanders, when you watch them on film, they played more straight-up man-to-man coverage in that game than they had all season long, and it wasn't close. Usually the Steelers like to live in zone. They like to play cover 3. They like to play in cover 2, specifically Tampa 2. All right, they like to go to quarters looks, and they like to make some adjustments based on the alignment of the offense. All right, and what most teams do against rushing quarterbacks, all right, what most teams do is because with man coverage, the defenders in the secondary don't have eyes on the quarterback, okay? So if the quarterback escapes, then they don't know it, and that can lead to some really big gains for the offense, right? But here's what the Steelers do, okay? Instead of just sitting in the zone coverage like most defenses do, they do man coverage. Like we talked about, they send those blitzes, but then they have one-on-one coverage. So they really trust their rushers to keep that lane discipline that we talked about earlier, to not allow the quarterback to escape, and then they trust their backers on the backside to hold up one-on-one in coverage. And last week, honestly, if I have to admit something here about the Steelers defense, they actually didn't play all that well in man coverage last week. Now, the Steelers don't do that very much. I mean, they're mostly a zone team. But it's really weird because when most teams play more man against non-rushing quarterback threats, and then they switch to zone when they play those same rushing quarterback threats, the Steelers do the opposite. Against normal quarterbacks, they play a lot of zone, they play a lot of cover 3, a lot of cover 2, and then against rushing quarterbacks, they play way more man. Mike Tomlin does the exact opposite, and it works better than the normal doctrine of the NFL because the Steelers pass rush is so gap sound, because they're able to do so many things. They're so savvy up front that the Steelers can get away with this strategy, and that's what Mike Tomlin brings to the table as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So fill in the blank for me down there in the comment section. Mike Tomlin is a top blank defensive coach in football today. For me personally, guys, he's not like the most creative defensive mind. He's run pretty much the same defense for almost the last 2 decades. But it always works, man. And, this is a system that has been tried and tested and true with multiple different people, with multiple different personnel, and it works time and time again. Plus, Tomlin is a great teacher of this stuff, so everybody is well disciplined. All this fantastic stuff that Tomlin has been able to implement in the Steelers defense. So for me personally, I think that he's in the conversation for a top 5 defensive mind in the National Football League today. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys stopping by today and making it to the end of today's video. If you love nerdy Steelers football content like this, you want to learn more about this football team week in and week out, and you want to become an expert on this football team, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now.